American dream ain't real, never was. It's a bedtime story they tell the poor so we don't wake up and burn the whole system down. Work hard, play by the rules, and you'll make it. Yeah? Then why are millions of us barely scraping by while billionaires hoard enough money to end poverty 100 times over? They tell us it's about effort, that if you're struggling, it's your fault. Not the rigged economy, not the landlords jacking up rent 150% since the 90s, not the fact that minimum wage hasn't kept up with inflation since the 60s, and not the fact that half of us don't have $500 for an emergency while CEOs make that in a second. Nah, it's you. You just didn't try hard enough. I say bullshit. They say go to college, but a degree don't mean nothing when you're drowning in debt you'll never pay off. Student loans in this country total $1.7 trillion. And who profits? The same banks that needed bailouts while we all lost our homes in '08. The same politicians that send their kids to Ivy League schools with no debt, no struggle, and no worries. It was never about giving us a future. It was about trapping us. They say, buy a house. With what? Wages ain't moved in decades. Rent so high, can't even save. The average home price is 5 times what it was in the 80s, and they want to tell us it's just inflation? No, it's greed. It's billionaires and banks buying up homes, turning neighborhoods into playgrounds for the rich, pushing working people into the dirt. They say just get a good job. Where? Factory jobs are all gone, retail jobs can barely pay rent, healthcare costs can wipe out your whole life savings overnight. They say the economy is booming. But for who? Because it ain't the single mom working 2 jobs just to keep the lights on. It ain't the guy breaking his back in a warehouse with no benefits. And it sure as hell ain't the millions working harder than ever just to stay broke. And then they tell us, well, at least you have freedom. Freedom to what? To die because we can't afford insulin? To work ourselves to death while billionaires ride rockets to space? To choose between rent and food? That ain't freedom. That's a death sentence. The truth is, the American dream is a leash, a scam, a fantasy to keep us obedient, to keep us blaming ourselves instead of the real enemy, the ones who rigged the game in the first place, and they will keep us chasing that lie until the day we die, unless we finally say enough. We don't need to work harder. We don't need to suffer more. We need to take back what's ours. We built this country. We keep it running, and we're the ones struggling? Nah, not anymore. The dream is dead. Time to build something real.
Listen, if you still want to come to America because you believe in the American dream, let me tell you something. That dream died like 30 plus years ago, and now we're living in a dream that involves paying $10 for a dozen of shitty fucking eggs, paying $2,000 a month for an apartment in the ghetto that's about 700 square feet and it has no walls. And then if you want to go to university here, you're looking at around $100,000 for a 4-year education. That's on the low end. But in those 4 years, you might get shot because everyone seems to want to shoot each other for some ungodly reason. Then you're going to graduate thinking, oh, I graduated, I have a degree now, I'm going to get a good job. Your good job is going to pay you about $40,000 starting off, maybe, and then they're going to say you're going to work 40 hours a week. When in reality, you're going to be working about 50 plus hours a week because they're going to guilt trip you in by saying, we're a family, we're a team, we help each other. And they're not going to pay you overtime for that because why would they? If they get your help for free, why would they pay you for that? Okay? Then there's no work-life balance. That company you're working for now doesn't want to give you vacation days until like maybe your second year working there. And those vacation days are maybe 4 days out of the whole entire year. That includes holidays. All right? Then if you're sick, too bad you still have to come to work. Okay? Then if you want to buy groceries, your groceries are going to be your whole entire paycheck because no one can afford to eat here anymore. Got it? I go to the grocery store for 4 things. It's like $50. I'm just saying it sucks living here. I don't want to live here. I want to leave. So maybe you should rethink your whole American dream because it's not what it's all cracked up to be. Okay? Okay, love you. Bye.
We were sold the American dream as a promise, and it is a fucking lie. I can't go to the doctor. I don't have money to go to the doctor. I cannot have children. I cannot. I couldn't have children if I was also having a dual income with a significant other. I still couldn't afford it. And then I wouldn't want to, because once they go to school, their chances of being shot in their classroom is the biggest cause of early death in children in the United States, is getting shot. If I go to the ER right now, I might be homeless. That's living in the United States. That's the reality of living here. It's not the pretty picture you see on TV. Our food is poison, our healthcare is non-existent, and well, fuck, if you step outside, you could get arrested for literally nothing, because now we barely have rights. I cannot stress this enough. If I magically came into enough money to leave, I would. We're stuck here. I did everything I was supposed to do. I went to college. I got a degree. I have a job that if this was in the 1990s, I would be a successful businesswoman. I would be able to do all of this and have a family. I can't now.
How did the American dream die? How did the middle class die? I'm going to tell you, it started in the 1980s with trickle-down economics that did not work. They decided to give tax cuts to the rich and corporations, saying that money would trickle down. It didn't. It just made the rich richer. Then we greenlit stock buyback. So instead of, when the productivity was going up, instead of giving workers more money, they just bought back their stocks so the shareholders could make profit and the executives could get bonuses. Then we had leverage buyouts, and the government didn't regulate leverage buyouts, and that was the start of private equity basically buying up everything so that they could make more money. Then we moved away from pensions to 401ks, which essentially just took the responsibility and accountability of the company to take care of their workers with the retirement and put it on to individuals, but we were never taught economics in high school, so how the fuck are we supposed to know about compound interest and investing? But they may said the 401k was better than the pension when it wasn't. Then they started shipping our jobs overseas, building the middle class of other countries so that they could make more profit, destroying the middle class here. Then we started ramping up the borrowing money and getting into debt as a country, which devalues our dollar. And then in 2008, we had predatory lending, which crashed the housing market, fucked over so many Americans. And then we used taxpayer money to bail out the banks. And when all the houses were cheap, the rich went and bought those up. And that's when you started to see the rent start to increase around the 2010s into the 2015s. And then in 2011, we allowed super PACs to exist. So billionaires can now buy elections, and they use that money on attack ads, which divides the country. Divide and conquer, and that's what they did. In 2020, we had the pandemic, which both sides of the aisle handled like absolute shit, shut down all small businesses, all the money went to the top, the rich got richer, they printed trillions of dollars more, which people needed, but what did all the people do? We spent the money because we needed to spend the money, and where did that money go? To the top, and they got richer. And lastly, they decided during the pandemic, let's lower the interest rates on buying a home to 2.5% to 3% so that people could refinance and get ahead. But no, all that really did was give the green light to a bunch of rich people to basically borrow free money and buy up all the fucking housing so that we can no longer own a home. And that all ended in 2021. Then we've experienced 25% inflation since the pandemic. And here we are in 2025, and we no longer have a middle class, and the American dream is dead.
We can't afford our rent. We can't afford
Keep screaming for income. I gotta learn how to flip houses. I gotta learn how to sell on Amazon. I gotta go to door to door and sell vacuum cleaners. I can't just have a job and go home, enjoy my money, enjoy my time with the kids.
In the United States, y'all work in order to survive. Y'all don't work in order to enjoy yourselves. And unfortunately, that's the way the system is set up.
Wake up, check your feed, check your texts, check your emails, go to work, get 100 things done, get home late, attempt to have energy for stuff like your kids, chores, hobbies, etc., fail miserably, feel awful, and then repeat.
Thanks for clicking to watch today's video, and also welcome back to our channel. For generations, many people were told that work hard, stay calm, and things will get better. But people have been working hard, others have been working multiple jobs, going from one job to another, but still nothing is happening. And this is the question we are asking. Where did the American dream go? We've compiled this video for you. We do not own the rights of it. They belong to the original owners of the video. Let's dive in and listen to what people have to say. I'll be back shortly, so stick around.
We're not living. We're just negotiating with collapse every single fucking week. They tell us to budget better, cut back, and be smarter with our money. But how are we supposed to stretch a dollar that's already been wrung out to dry? Bills don't wait. Emergencies don't ask if it's a good time either. And no matter how hard you try, something always breaks, expires, runs out, or shuts off. It's like every part of life has a price tag now, and most of us are just hoping nothing goes wrong until the next direct deposit hits. This isn't about laziness. This isn't about poor choices or bad money management. It's about a system that's been strip mined for profit while the rest of us hold the damn thing together with maxed out credit cards and burnout. You can show up early, stay late, and still feel like you're losing ground because the rules were never meant for us to win. And deep down, everybody feels it. Even the ones pretending they're fine. They're just scared to admit how bad it's gotten. But we're done pretending. We're done apologizing. Because if nobody speaks up, they'll just keep tightening the grip. And I promise you, they're not going to stop unless we make the noise that they can't ignore. So no, we're not going to just smile through it. We're not going to be grateful it isn't worse. We are the generation that they pushed too far. And now we see the truth for what it is. This isn't our failure. It's their design. And we're not playing along anymore.
772,000. That's not a typo. That's how many folks are currently living on the streets in the so-called richest country in the world. And y'all want us to believe this is just the system working? Nah, the system is broken, and broke again. Let's break it down. Homelessness just hit a record high in the U.S. That's an 18% spike from last year alone. And family homelessness up 39%. Families, not just individuals. Moms, dads, kids sleeping in cars, on benches, under bridges. What's causing it? Sky-high rent, stagnant wages. Then you got post-COVID economic chokeholds. And a government that got no problem spending billions overseas, but freezes up when it's time to house its own people. And don't get it twisted. This ain't just a bad economy issue. This is a policy failure. No cap. There are more empty homes in America than homeless people. Let that sink in. But instead of tackling housing reform or raising the minimum wage, we're watching politicians bicker like it's a Twitter beef while folks are freezing in tents. This ain't the American dream. This is an American eviction notice. And the wildest part, the media will run this headline and keep it pushing. No national emergency, no federal task force, just another day in the land of get yours or die trying. We need rent control, mental health support, jobs that pay a livable wage, and leaders who actually give a damn. Because homelessness isn't a crime, but letting this continue should be. Follow your boy Crypto Black. See you next time.
Let's just say the quiet part out loud. I think everybody at this point is just surviving. Every week I go to the grocery store, the amount of money that I spend is insane. I feel bad for folks that can't go into houses because it is not affordable anymore for folks. Luckily for me, I've been able to own 2 houses. I feel bad for younger kids that their parents don't have the money, or they didn't get any type of financial backing for college because college is not affordable. We got to really look at the system that's going on right now. You have an average American that's barely surviving. I'm at the gym right now, and I passed a food line. Say this out loud. We have a food line in the United States of America for people who can't get food. The United States of America is not a third world country. It is the most wealthiest country there is. But we have people that have to go in food lines to get food. Just think about that for a moment. The United States of America. Folks, the system is broken. Whether you like it or not, it is what it is. At some point, as a country, somebody got to stand up and say, enough is enough. We got to support each other. Hopefully this was helpful to somebody. Chris with the gems.
Yo, I hope y'all know the American dream is dead. Like, you're not gonna have a good life just off the virtue of being American or living in America anymore. Like, those days are gone. Yes, 20, 30, 40 years ago, people were coming from all around the world to America for a better life, and they found that a lot of the times. But that's not the case no more. We live in a globalized world. Like, things are not the same. The effort that it took to live a fairly good life in terms of just working or building your own business, that effort now is just going to get you by barely. And I hope people are starting to realize this and look elsewhere and cast your net further overseas, network and, meet people in different companies overseas to where you can improve your, not just your financial position, but your other aspects of life. Like, it's time to get creative in 2025, for real.
So I think we can all agree at this point that the US is in serious decline. I've talked about it from the standpoint of education. I've talked about it from the standpoint of economy. You could talk about it from the standpoint of just about any way that we meet people's needs in this country. People are not getting their needs met. It's hard to say when this decline started. I think you could say that it even started in the 1970s, but I think it became apparent in 2016 when we democratically elected a right-wing demagogue, which is what countries in decline do. And I've been pretty clear since about last summer or so that my continuing to stay in this country is a choice to go through a very difficult time in history. And I also understand that the choice to stay is itself very privileged. And I guess I'm making this video partly as a caution and partly as a call to action. As a country declines, there is this pattern of insane concentration of wealth, and those who own the wealth start to engage in a lot of corruption in order to keep the wealth going. And where there once was order and maybe some facade that there was not that much corruption, that is all gone, and the people who are in the middle and the upper middle economically start to get swallowed up by the wealth inequality. And the typical reaction of people who are supposed to have privilege in the society is that they will fight very hard to maintain that position. And so my caution is to let you know that we are not at that place in history where we elect a different representative. We're at that part of history where we rewrite the way that government works, the way that education works, the way that economy works. It's a much bigger change. We're waiting and holding on while this current thing crumbles. We're not building anything. And for those of us who are more privileged, it is time for us to let go of our privilege and some belief that we are supposed to have more money than the people who are marginalized in our society. One of the ways that marketing gets at us is that it throws the wealth inequality in our face and tells us that we need to pretend that we have more money than we have. And most people are just going around pretending that they are in okay financial shape.
Let's have a reality check. The rents keep rising, grocery prices go up each and every day, healthcare has become very expensive, people are living paycheck to paycheck in America, some are working more than one job but still they can't survive. Initially, the American dream was supposed to mean stability, not luxury. But when people are working more than one job, and still they can't afford even to live and even the basic commodities, that means that something is really, really bad. The system is really deeply broken in America. And guys, this didn't just happen overnight. It's something that happened slowly by slowly. And right now, so many people can't live the American dream. And guys, what do you think? Does really hard work right now guarantee the American dream in America? Kindly drop your thoughts and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Thank you so much for watching up to this far. See you on our next video.